that long, long diagonal plane here, and then that very cool light plane that comes here. The marvelous configuration of the pear and the grapes. The guitar going this way, dum, 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 dum. Very nice. Okay. But remember, liberation for one painter, prison for another painter. Durand had an attitude. There was a very interesting interview that Durand gave to Breton, Henri Breton, around 1924 or so. And Durand was talking about a ball. He said, you know, here's a ball. If you want to represent that on a canvas, you do it mathematically, don't you? You make a sphere, you make a round form. But it has other properties to it, a ball. You put it on a flat surface, it rolls, it oscillates. So what the painter's mission, as far as I'm concerned, what my mission is to try to get to the virtue of the ball. It's like an ontological thing we're talking about here. But this is the kind of thing that Durand was involved in. And when you look at this and see what happens with that great light form here, this marvelous invention of the paper here, and then the straight edge, the portfolio, the crayon, and the white crayon, and the charcoal, et cetera, you see there's a freedom in it which is not in the Gris. Gris has to approach in a very different way. Gris has to say, I've got a black, I've got a white. Hey, the black's going to be the shadow, the white's going to be the paper. Or the black's going to be the shadow, and the white's going to be the papier, whatever. And he starts to construct these things. He doesn't want to leave it abstract. Gris had no faith and no interest whatsoever in abstract painting. He wanted to arrive at a guitar, a papier, and all the rest of it. And up to 1927, he's trying to get closer and closer to the appearance of the thing. In this weird way of going about it, in a marvelous way. And Durand's a very, very different thing. But how beautifully they can hang together. The next, please. Now, again, you might gather that I can't stand this talk about a realist painting. And when you look at this late Gris, and by the way, why the art historians are so nasty to late Gris, I don't know. This is not a good reproduction because it's taken from, again, like that earlier Durand, a color lithograph. But look what he does here. You want to paint a spoon, okay? The bowl of the spoon and the handle of the spoon. So you have that light plane rearing up here. You come light plane like that and down here. And look, just this like 1, a 2, a 3, and then you have that dark over here. You can really see that spoon emerging there. If he started mousing around, trying to articulate various details, a la realism, it ruined the whole thing. And that beautiful, satisfying triangle that lunges ahead here in that golden ochre and the black elements of the pipe, what happens here. The typical, very late Gris. It was only Jean Lemery, among the art historians, that had the courage, when he put on a big Gris show in the museum in Paris, to have a whole room of late Gris. And he was really stomped on by his fellow art historians. Oh, no, this is not the good Gris. Oh, no, you got to show the earlier Gris, et cetera, et cetera. Then the Durand. Very late Durand. Probably up to the time he died. He died in 54. He was still working on it. And this mysterious thing with Durand. In that same interview with Breton, at that time he had a great interest in 17th century still life paintings by Willem Kampf, people like that, Hedda, Claus, and these mysterious points of light. And he said that light didn't really exist on the object. It was placed almost in the sense of alchemy. And you know, what does Durand do here? I mean, he gets zoom, zoom. He gets up, and then on a diagonal like that. And there's this variety to this thing, you know, and in a sense, just as in the Gris, he knows what he's doing. And he builds this up and he pushes the plane way back in there. It's such a strange, marvelous painting with color so rich and full. And again, what am I saying about color? It's a matter of rapport, relationships, and rhythms. Okay, let's see another of these two. Now, again, the Gris, which is typical fanning, this sort of cubist fanning of planes, sort of a blazon does that. Very, very nice. Quite a nice Gris, actually. with that one light there, piece of it there, and then you pull up from that plane, you have this coming, and then you have that nice sort of chartreuse yellow thing here, and this khaki green that comes here, and it's really a solid painting. And the Duran, not a very good slide because there's a dark table lunging here which you don't see, but a miraculous painting. One that he worked a long time on, very, very late Duran, with a marvelous complication in the cloth here, and with the various breads that he has here, and the fruits and this thing. One of the really great Duran still lifes. And one should see it in the museum. One should see a Brie like that and a Duran like that. It's very funny. I mean, when you think of it, you have the obscene spectacle of this Andy Warhol crowd up at the Museum of Modern Art. They're not willing to go for that. They're willing to go for, again, for realism, but Duran bothers. Because Duran's a serious painter, and there's something bothering people about that among the bureaucracy that sort of sits down on top of the painter's neck. The next, please. Again, this is in the Pompidou, and this is in the Pompidou. They don't hang together. In fact, the Gris is almost always up. The Duran is up and down, up and down, up and down. The Gris is an original slide, and the Duran is from a book. But again, what happens here? It's this marvelous, limpid clarity of the Gris. This lovely use of a warm, this tongue of the newspaper, which is so warm and so marvelous against these other grays. And the changes in the grays, the change from a gray plane here to a gray plane here, and to that blue thing here. And how marvelously he welds this whole thing together, right? And this light plane that comes like that here, and then it does that with the egg. The Duran's another thing. Duran is willing to take on the possibility, how do I deal with these cut breads, this big country bread here and the bread that's here. The bowl of blood, the innards of the rabbit, and the rabbit itself. And see how he shifts back and forth when he works. How he gets a light plane here and holds that here, and how he moves here and comes down here. How he gets all the combinations here, that mysterious bottle. Again, he is trying to get the virtue of these objects, the identity, the secret identity of these objects, that mysterious black of the pan, the gleam that comes out here of the ladle, and the handle coming here. The gestures in the green, you know exactly what pressure to use, and he works with one of these color planes to another color plane. Miraculous work, an ideal work. The next, please. Now, Carroll has this, I'm sure, unless he sold it. And the slide doesn't give you the sense of this Giacometti of the sort of impasto of that painting. It's like it's built up so heavily, and it's so marvelous. You know, Giacometti facing these bottles in the corner of the studio and working his way in and out. And the kind of thing that Giacometti would say, he'd say, oh, you know, Duran did these small paintings. We call them Duran's petit format. And he said, Terriard should do a whole book on Duran's petit format. Now, that is from a book, and this is from a book, so they're both have their faults. This is much too gray. But look what Duran does here. He works, he has these two verticals here. They make one a vertical like that. Now, he pulls them apart. When he does the constellation of the angles here, he does da-da, 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 da-da like that. And so on in the way he does his work. He displaces the vertical over here. He gets the character. It's much darker than the original. It's like the feeling, just the weight alone of that reddish, blackish color plane of the bottle gives a feeling of that mystery of that bottle. Little sketch, but so right on, just hitting it like that. Now, I have to tell you something. The man who was in good part responsible for buying that Duran for the Tate Gallery, and I bless him for it, I saw him, I gave him a lecture for Tate, and then before he bought the painting, and in fact I showed the painting in the lecture, and he got interested, he asked me where the painting was. Then, I saw maybe a year or so later, my wife and I were having a two-man show in London. We came to the vernissage. He said, we just bought an American painting. I said, great, bought an American painting. And he said, paid a lot of money for it. Now you might not approve because you're a painter, and painters tend to be prejudiced. And it was David Sally, you know. So I said, I don't do it. I think it's shit or stick. So he said, well, you know, so we get into a thing about David Sally. I said, you know what Sally once did? I did an article on Duran for Tom Hansen Art News, and he took one of these late Duran nudes in a clearing. It's a very Pompeian-looking painting, and he took that painting, he cut off 1/3 and he projected it, and then he put Spider Woman with a, it looked like he made it with a big 20-foot canvas or something. I said, okay, he wants to do that, but he's such a jerk. That, Duran is very, Duran's feeling that beat. Look at that vertical. And look what happens here. Well, that happened all through these little gouts of paint and those nudes in that landscape. And this asshole, what he does, ruins the whole thing. He can't draw at all. He can't paint. He's with nothing. So, here's the line. I love this line. He says, well, that's on purpose. Purpose. So, there's a guy standing nearby who's an American actor who's got an English girlfriend. And the English girlfriend is a friend of this very nice chap whose role in the tape gallery is the same role that Rubin had in the Museum of Modern Art. And this English guy says, the American guy says, I was in a musical a year ago. I can't sing. And I had a speaking part. But then the third singer fell ill, and they pressed me. I was gang pressed into singing. And it was miserable, the worst evening of my life. And when it was all over, the other two singers came up to me and said, yeah, it was terrific. Every note was wrong. How'd you do it? They couldn't do that. They couldn't, because they didn't know how to sing. They were singers. And I couldn't convince this guy in the museum. I said, you can't do that. I think you can't do that. You can't work against your own instincts. You can't do a bad thing. You do the best you can, that's it. But that's, sorry. Next.